I was a lone rider that entered town, took care of his horse, and sat in the shade under the roof of a cantina. After one drink, I was feeling happy. The proprietor greeted me and said, "Come back in the evening, Señor. There will be a fiesta, plenty of food and drink, and music to dance to." I replied, "With the wind blowing gently like it is, the smell of the flowers overhead, and your kind invitation, there's a fiesta in the air right now. Perhaps it's even a jubilee." The proprietor asked, "What is a jubilee?" I replied, "A jubilee is a year-long fiesta, celebrating God's restoration of his nation to what it was originally, extending justice to all." The proprietor asked, "Are you a lawman?" I replied, "No. I raise and train horses. That is what I do. I hope my pals understand what I did." Jubilee, we're happy to be folks that'll care for the land and the free. Jubilee, God sends us his grace. Justice will shine now here in this place. I traveled to the place I inherited, a wonderful stretch of land extending seemingly forever. I would start a horse ranch over here with my pals and sell the small ranch that I raised horses on now. I spent days riding over the terrain of my spread, noticing the brilliant sunsets, the sun and the clouds creating and removing shadows, the blue sky, and the sparkling creeks and ponds. While in town to send a telegram to my pals, I saw some ranch hands pestering a farmer with his kids. The boss owner of the ranch also saw this and fired the men on the spot. One of the men told the owner he'll be asking for them in a couple of months. I found out that a small community of farmers were squatting on the owner's land. Apparently for years the owner did not mind, but now he felt like his land was being taken from him, and outside forces like age and courts were closing in on him, and he wanted all the farmers out. The farmers were taking their case to court, but it looked like the courts this time would side with the boss owner. The boss owner's son was a lawyer, but his ability to please his father in past legal matters was wanting. The land I inherited from my uncle was a loss to the boss owner in court, even though in that matter the boss owner had no case. I decided to ride through the valley where the farmers lived. I came upon an outside eating area near a church. I decided to have a meal there and talk with whoever was there. A couple of men strode in asking who I was. To allay their fears, I said I raised horses on a ranch 2 days away. I was not working for any cattle ranch. They asked if I was good with a gun. I was embarrassed for them asking. The next day at an outside restaurant in town, I sat quietly in a side section observing the town. A man and his wife sat in the front section unaware of me. Their voices carried clearly in the wind. I felt like a priest listening to a confession. The man said his father would win in the courts, but there was sure to be violence, and his father would not respect him more for winning. It was hard on his father since his eldest son rode off, and his other brother tries, but the father has changed. His world is closing in on him. The wife said they should leave too. It was getting too difficult to stay. The husband started defending his father, saying in years past he accepted the farmers on his land. He didn't understand how his father could change so much from the way he remembered him. I thought long and hard that night while looking out into the distant blackness and up at the stars in the sky. The next morning I sent a telegram to my pals to not try to sell the horse ranch or move any horses down here. Later that morning I caught sight of the boss owner and his lawyer's son together. I walked up to them and said, "I have a business proposal for you to consider here and now, an exchange of land, my spread for your valley." I then used the well-favored names I heard locally for these pieces of land. La Tierra de los Soñadores, in exchange for el valle de las promesas. The son quickly blurted that the spread was 10 times the size of the valley. I said, that is the deal, and the offer may not be there tomorrow. The owner said he would have to think about it. I replied, the spread is mine to sell. You know both pieces of land better than anyone. There is nothing to consider. Either it is yes or it is no. The son said the land rights to pieces of the valley were in the courts. I said I would assume the risk for any outstanding title rights. Then I said to the owner, one more thing. I'll ask that you pay your son's fees for the legal work he will do for me in this matter, and for any other legal work that I may need from him while in town. The boss owner accepted the deal. We shook hands, and the spread was now his. The next day, I asked the lawyer's son to contact the farmers in the valley, telling them that I will offer to give them title to their farms for a penny an acre. The lawyer's son couldn't understand the deal. I said I'm investing in the farmers. If they accept the deal, then they also agree to withdraw their court case. We discussed the details of the sales, and I left open any future deals on land not yet settled. I told him we could exchange telegrams on any remaining matters that come up. Then I left the town and the spread. Jubilee, we're happy to be folks that'll care for the land and the free. Jubilee, God sends us His grace. Justice will shine now here in this place. I was a lone rider that entered town, took care of his horse, and sat in the shade under the roof of a cantina. After one drink, I was feeling happy. The proprietor greeted me and said, "Come back in the evening, Señor. There will be a fiesta, plenty of food and drink, and music to dance to." I replied, "With the wind blowing gently like it is, the smell of the flowers overhead, and your kind invitation, there's a fiesta in the air right now. Perhaps it's even a jubilee." The proprietor asked, "What is a jubilee?" I replied, "A jubilee is a year-long fiesta celebrating God's restoration of His nation to what it was originally, extending justice to all." The proprietor asked, "Are you a lawman?" I replied, "No. I raise and train horses. That is what I do. I hope my pals understand what I did."